Gotta use my middle name. Can't use my real name, okay?
Can you hear that okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Charlie Silveria Show podcast live on Zoom. I don't know what's going on over here with our guest today, but today our very first guest here on Zoom, stream live on YouTube, is the world famous entrepreneur. I don't know what he's doing. There he is. It's Kevin Moore, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a hand. Hey, it's Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
What's up, Charlie?
What's going on in your world? What'd you do today?
Oh, it's been a very somber day.
Why? What happened?
The dog died.
No. Which one?
Baloo the bear.
The little one?
No, my daughter's dog.
Your daughter's dog. No, wait, that was a big dog.
Yeah.
What happened?
This cancer sucks, dude.
Was it old age?
No, cancer sucks, dude.
Geez, that's not good.
No.
Well, let's bring the room down real quick.
Way down.
Gee whiz. So did you take it to a Korean restaurant? Is that what you did? Do you drop it off? What do you do?
Negative.
Okay, just check. I asked that because I'm sitting right here. I'm right in Kearney Mesa here. So
Well, that's what they do with all of them on Korean Mesa.
I would think.
I heard they like the stray cats. That's why.
So
Stray.
did your daughter ask you to dispose of the dog? Is that what happened? Is that why I couldn't get a hold of you earlier today? What happened?
Yeah, I was just a stressful day.
Gee whiz.
All I got to say about
What
that.
kind of dog was that?
There was a Burmese mountain dog.
That's a big dog, right? Aren't they pretty big?
Very big. Very big. Yeah, pretty sad deal. But hey, on to the next chapter.
How's she doing?
So,
Daughter's okay?
So what did you do today?
I was doing this, trying to get prepared for this big interview with you today. So, that's pretty much my day. So what we're gonna do, I'll just refresh it a little. What we're gonna do with this experiment here, because this is episode number 1 of our attempt at podcasting, streaming live via Zoom on YouTube. So for everybody out there watching right now, welcome to our podcast. This is I'm calling it the Charlie Silveria Show with co-host Kevin Moore for episode number 1. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things. So we're going to look at current events. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about dogs dying. Because what else is more fun than that? Right, Kevin?
How about those Padres clicking off right into the sports show?
There you go. Padres are looking good. They're in second place. They have the second best record in Major League Baseball right now. And as a 4th-generation lifetime San Diego Padre fan, it's a good thing. It's cool to have, a better record than the Yankees, better than the Red Sox, better than the Dodgers. There you go. Got your Padres hat. I like that. I don't have one in here. I got my Padres thing up here, but you can't see it because I got the background on.
Hey.
So Kevin,
what's your spin? What's your spin? We're going in 580, I believe, is our average, which is probably the best in the history of the Padres.
Oh no, they've done better than that. 98 was way better than that. So it's still not quite that level yet. But I just think, today being May 18th and the season's 40 games in, so we're a quarter of the way through, and the fact that the Padres, San Diego Padres, have the second best record in Major League Baseball. It's a pretty cool deal, I think.
Oh, I got to commend you because, well, I still think you're probably the world's largest Padre fan, and
I don't know about that. Thank you.
Charlie. Charlie's got Padre stories, so let's hear a few of your best Padre stories.
I got a few. Not a whole lot this year so far. I mean, I've gone to a few games, but I haven't seen. So one interesting thing about this season is it's happened twice now our superstar shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., which, by the way, whenever I mention his name, I almost say Fernando Valenzuela Jr. It's a weird phenomenon. My brain for baseball goes to Fernando. And of course, Fernando, former Padre, Fernando Valenzuela. Yeah, he played for that other team up there in LA, which we don't like to mention. But he did. He was a Padre. You remember that, right?
I
Fernando
do.
played for the
I
Padres.
do.
So I think it was 99 or 2000, something like that. But Fernando Tatis Jr., I went to the game on the Sunday before he hurt his shoulder and was out on the IL, not the DL. He's on the IL. You don't call it that DL anymore, right? What's the DL, Kevin? Disabled list, right? Everybody knows.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So you can't say DL anymore because of the DL. I'm on the DL, the down low, down DL, or the DM on the DL, right? And all that stuff. So you can't say that anymore. So it's the IL, which is the injured list, not the disabled list, because we want to offend any disabled people either. That's the other thing. You can't say disabled anymore.
Oh, is that not socially acceptable?
You can't say disabled. So I'm not going to say it. I'm old. So I remember, though, that when baseball players got injured, they went on the disabled list. But you can't say that anymore. So now it's the injured list. So to go back, Fernando went to the game on Sunday. Fernando hit a home run. The very next day, that Monday night, he blew his shoulder out, and it was on the IL for 10 days. Okay? Last at bat was a home run. So went to another game a week ago last Sunday, and Fernando hit a home run, of course. He always hits home runs when I go. I think you've seen him hit 3 home runs already this year, and he's got 8 or 9 home runs. So what do you know? The very next day, Fernando hits a home run on Sunday. The next day, he gets the coronavirus, and he goes on the IL, the injured list.
Injured list, not the DL, the IL.
IL. What did I say? EL?
IL.
The IL. Injured list. So that's my story for this year so far. I go to the game. Fernando hits a home run. The next day, he goes on the injured list. So I got that going for me. How about you, Kevin? What about good Padres stories from you?
Well, haven't been too active since I've had other things going on. So I just got you to fall back on because you know everything about them. So there you have it.
I do my best. So.
I would say that my favorite story of all times, however, would be the 1998 series that my son and I attended many of those games. And you and I didn't know each other then, but
right.
Because I'm pretty sure we sat next to each other at one of those games. Maybe not. But hey, sounds good for the show, right? But yeah, so that was some great memories, and of course, I have every one of those guys on my signed bat, which you can't see back here, but it's back there.
Nice.
And another great story, of course, was my very first Padre game back in the mid '70s, and of course, that was at the Murph, which is no longer, as we all know. And that was with my grandfather, may he rest in peace. And that was back in the day when they had the colors that we have again today. By God.
Brown, yeah. See, you've got your vintage blue Padres hat you're wearing there, the blue and the white. So that was mid 2000s.
Yes, I've not upgraded yet, sorry to say, but
nice. There you go. Yeah, no, I went to every playoff game in 1998 as well. I had a 13-game season ticket package, and I got a few playoff game tickets with that. But then I stood in line and got tickets for the rest of the playoff games. So I went to every playoff game and one World Series game in '98. I went to Game 3, and that still is the only World Series game before or since that I've been to. So Game 3 of the 1998 World Series. So that was it. And had a couple cool things happen that day. We went early. My 7-year-old son and I went to the game early, went down right behind home plate on the net, and just kind of take it all in. And I got to see George Steinbrenner on the field with the Yankees, of course.
Nice.
Um, got to see Joe Morgan, who was always one of my favorite players as a kid. Loved the way Joe Morgan cocked his elbow when he batted. And of course, Joe Morgan just passed away last year. Um, got to see Joe Morgan. He was broadcasting that game, so he was literally right there next to us, right in the net, talked to us a little bit. But one of the coolest things, though, was an AP photographer asked if she was a female AP photographer, asked if she could take pictures of my son because he had his face painted and stuff for World Series. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Sure enough, take his picture. So she got our names and information and stuff, and took a few pictures of him. And the next day, I looked in the newspaper, no pictures, couldn't find a picture anywhere of my son in the our local San Diego newspaper. So I called the Associated Press and I said, yeah, I had an AP. I went to the World Series game last night, and the AP photographer took pictures of my son. I wanted to see if there's any way I could get a copy of that picture, or you could tell me what newspaper is in, and I could buy that newspaper. So they couldn't tell me what paper it was in, but they did tell me that photo, which they did find, was on the AP wire and could have been picked up by any number of newspapers or any type of magazine worldwide. It was an international AP wire. So
Wow.
I thought that was pretty cool. And they asked me if I wanted a copy of it. And I said, sure. So they faxed me a copy of it, and I've got it hanging up on my wall here in my office. So 1998, no email, none of that stuff. So
So
faxed
Ryan,
a copy of it.
Ryan remains a superstar from that day forward.
Amazing, right? So that was cool.
Yeah,
A couple
yeah.
other things, a couple other fun things about that. We were sitting down the third base line, and just before the game started, there was a big commotion, and we didn't know what was going on. And there was a bunch of people stood up, and they were looking down. And what it was from the left field, or actually it might have been right behind third base, where it must have been an access door to the field. They brought in Milton Berle, the TV star, Milton Berle, famous comedian,
Yeah.
huge lifelong Yankees fan. They rolled him in his wheelchair so he could sit in his seats in row one, right behind, right down the left field line behind third base.
Oh, wow. Right on.
That was pretty cool. So I got to see Milton Berle.
Well, the memories I have is my son, I believe he was probably 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that age, is the team that he was playing on at that time got to go not only tour the stadium, but play a quick scrimmage on the field with themselves. And it was pretty cool. Once again, being down on the field, right in the live in person, and getting a tour of the club and everything back in the day, it was pretty cool. And the other cool thing is we toured it at another time when football was in season, and got some super cool autographs. Got to meet the legendary Junior. He actually signed and autographed our calendar, and that was the days. And we won't talk about that team anymore because, well,
Yeah,
just
they're gone too. They're an LA team now. And
just because.
anybody that has a hat that has an SD on it does not support an LA team. That's just my opinion. So, I mean, you can support an LA team if you want to. That's fine with me. It doesn't bother me. But I know I will never support an LA team. So,
Well, we can't argue about that now, can we?
like tomorrow night, speaking of LA teams, you got the Golden State Warriors versus the Lakers for the play-in game. You're gonna watch that game, Kevin?
Negative.
Oh, I am. I'm going to root for Golden State. I do not support LA teams. I want them all to lose every time. And of course they don't, which that's why I hate them, because I'm jealous because of how successful they are. That's
Well,
just the way it goes.
it's just okay because they're up the road. That's all we got to say about that. Is
So
that that team is
I do follow I do follow them. I do follow what's going on with our friends up north, LA teams. And I was shocked over the weekend when the boys in blue brought in our old friend Albert Pujols from the Angels. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
So yeah, the Angels released Albert 10 days ago, And honestly, I think it's unprecedented. I don't think it's ever happened that a player with over, number 5 on the all-time home run list, Albert Pujols, has 667 home runs. That's more than Willie Mays. All kinds of. I mean, he's top 5. He's number 5 on the all-time home run list. You got McGuire, Aaron, Ruth.
No, so the Dodgers picked him up.
Yeah, so the Dodgers picked him up, and he started for the Dodgers last night, and he got a base hit in the second inning and knocked a run in. The Dodgers. He ended up going 1 for 4 on the night, but yeah, and he played first base all game. I mean, it's weird though to see Albert in blue though versus his red from the Angels and of course the Cardinals back in the old days.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So
another shocker from our Major League Baseball legend, Charlie Silveria.
That's it.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, no. So anyways, this podcast, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about entertainment, movies, entertainment. I'm a big fan. I'm a movie fan. I like the history of film. I am just boggled right now. Something Kevin and I haven't talked about, but I am just amazed by the old Father Time. The 100-year mark. Think about it. 100 years ago was 1921, right? Do you know who the biggest movie star in the world was in 1921?
Tell the audience, Charlie.
Charlie Chaplin.
Okay.
Charlie Chaplin was the biggest movie star in the world in 1921. Movies were still silent. They were still silent films. So think about the advance of technology. Here we are broadcasting live on YouTube. Essentially, it's a movie, and we're talking 100 years ago was still silent movies.
That's just crazy. Yes, how times have changed. To think for a minute that I sent an email the other day and it was going to a person across the globe and it was there less than 3 minutes.
Incredible. Yeah, no, I believe me, talking to people across country, you think about, but that's what I mean. That 100-year time frame is just
absolutely amazing.
It doesn't seem like a very long period of time now at my advanced age. I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's just 100 years doesn't seem like a very long time. I don't know why.
Well, let's just think of your life and what you've got to witness just in the last 20 years.
Yeah, well, think about it. Look at what we're doing right now. I mean, this is an unbelievable thing.
Yeah, we've went from nothing like we're doing today to everyone is trying to attempt what we're doing today.
Yep.
Whether it's attempting to market their business, whether it's meetings for corporate offices. Don't you think that'd be a great idea if we could teach the government how to do that? Think about
right?
We could save on all these folks flying from states to Washington and back on our tax dollar. Just think if they could make the concept like the corporate world has joined in the last 12 to 15 months. Think of the savings.
Yeah.
That one for tax breaks.
Yeah, that could very well happen. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not sure how much time we've got here. How much have we got? How much time have we got? About 20 minutes? 15, 20 minutes?
Oh, I'm not paying attention on so much.
Is that good for episode 1?
Sure. So let's call it a wrap and let's regroup and we'll check it out and do it again.
Sounds good, Kevin. Well, hey, thank you so much for being my guest today on the first episode number 1 of the Charlie Silveria Show podcast on Zoom, streaming on YouTube. So everybody watching out there, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.